You know that moment when you hear the word no? For most of us, that's where the story ends. But what if no isn't the end at all? What if it's actually the real beginning of the negotiation? In this explainer, we're going to unpack a super powerful framework straight from the high-stakes world of car buying that can help you turn pretty much any rejection into a real opportunity. And trust me, these ideas work everywhere. So let's dive in.
So let's start with a problem that sounds like a good one to have, right? Too many customers. This one dealership was getting swamped with 400 leads every single month, a total flood of opportunity. But as the manager Mike Wu points out, they just couldn't keep up. The result wasn't more business, it was just a ton of waste. It's kind of like trying to drink from a fire hose. All that potential is just splashing on the ground because their process was, well, completely broken.
So how do you fix a system that's just not working? Well, according to master coach Darrell Steed, you don't just tweak it, you change the entire game. And his core idea is simple, but it's a huge shift. Stop presenting and start conversing. Just think about it for a second. A presentation, it's a lecture, it's one way, all business, and honestly, it's forgettable. But a real conversation, that's a two-way street. That's where you build a human connection. And that is what makes you memorable.
And that's goal number one. Long before you even whisper a number, the real goal is just to be memorable. You want the other person to walk away thinking, you know what? That person was interesting. I actually want to talk to them again. I want to do business with them. It's about building a connection so real that they actually want to figure out a way to work with you. Okay, so what does this new conversational way of doing things actually look like? It's basically a four-step process. First, you ask some really smart questions right at the beginning to qualify them, to really get what they need. Then, you build what's called your why sell to me message, basically your unique value that's not just about money. Third, you make the whole thing easy and transparent using modern tools like video. And all of that leads to the final crucial step. Not just any appointment, but a qualified appointment with somebody who is genuinely ready to talk turkey.
This quote right here, it gets to the absolute core of this whole strategy. If the only thing you're bringing to the table is money, you're just in a race to the bottom. You're always going to lose to the next person who's willing to offer a dollar more. The real game changer is creating that why me message. It's all about building value through things like trust, convenience, and a better experience. Things a price tag just can't touch.
So you've done it all. You've built that connection, you've created real value, and they still say no. Ah, this is the moment of truth, isn't it? It feels like the deal is dead. The conversation is over. So, what do you do now?
Okay, first you've got to recognize exactly where you are in the game. This is what's called the no position. It's that critical point where the other person is turning to leave, and in that exact moment, you have absolutely, positively nothing left to lose. And because of that, your whole strategy has to flip. You're not trying to persuade anymore. Now you're trying to disrupt. And here it is. This is the pivot, the master move. Once you're on a no, you've earned the right to ask the really tough questions. Respectfully, of course, but directly, you challenge their logic. You say something like, help me understand, if you already have that other great offer, why are you still here talking to me? See, that's not being aggressive. It's what's called a pattern interrupt. It completely reframes the conversation and gets them to tell you what's really going on. Now, these powerful moves, they aren't just one-off parlor tricks you pull out of a hat. No way. They're actually the building blocks of a repeatable system. It's about getting away from just hoping for a lucky break and instead engineering consistent, predictable success. And the key to making it all stick? It's surprisingly simple. The secret is to stop obsessing over the big, unpredictable results, like actually buying the car, and instead focus on a tiny, daily action that you can 100% control. The system sets just one single micro goal for the team every day. And what is that goal? Set 3. 3 qualified appointments. That's it. It's a relentless, daily focus on the process, not the prize. And what happens when you build this little consistency machine? Well, the results are kind of nuts. Just look at this. The team went from getting about 15 cars a month to consistently hitting 40, sometimes even more. That's not just a little bump. it's a total transformation. And it's not a fluke. It's the direct result of a system that just plain works.
You know, the biggest change isn't even in the numbers. It's a psychological shift. The team becomes what Darrell calls the machine. They start carrying themselves with this newfound confidence. It's not arrogance, not at all. It's this deep understanding of their own value. They know that they are the engine driving the business, and that self-belief, it just fuels even more success. All right, so let's boil this all down. If you walk away with anything from this explainer, make it these 4 things. First, stop presenting and start conversation. Second, build your value way beyond just the price tag. Third, remember that when you hit a no, when you have absolutely nothing to lose, that's your moment to change the entire game. And finally, build a machine of consistency by focusing on small, daily, controllable actions. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. The next time you find yourself in one of those tough, stuck conversations, just ask yourself this one question. Are you trying to win an argument, or are you trying to start a real negotiation? Because the answer to that, well, that makes all the difference in the world.